like
Wow.
a placebo effect or
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. So you've been drinking the juice every morning,
every morning.
and you still feel the energy and the boost and all.
Yes. And I can actually feel like when it's like kind of starting to kick in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other interesting thing that I've noticed too is that it's kind of suppressing my appetite. So I don't really feel like the other day around lunchtime, I was still full from the juice that I had. I didn't even feel hungry.
It's amazing because the nutrients in the juice are feeding you. And so you're not getting hungry, because hunger is usually your body needing some kind of nutrient. So it's like pushing you to eat to fill those nutrients. But when you drink the green juice, you're just flooding your body with all the nutrients that it's doesn't really need much. And so you think like, how, that's why it's always, sometimes it's a hard sell, because it's like, well, how is this green juice going to replace my eggs and bacon and potatoes and whatever? I'm not going to feel full. But it's not really the fullness. It's that, especially overnight, because you've been fasting and you're a little dehydrated, drinking that green juice really hydrates you and fills all your cells with all those nutrients and trace minerals and everything that you know that's going to fuel your body. And yeah,
I can feel the difference. Like,
that's great.
I mean, most days I would feel like really low energy and like lethargic and needing to take a nap. I haven't felt that this whole week.
That's great.
It's like, where is this energy coming from?
For you.
Is this me? Because usually I want to sleep.
One a day, one in the morning.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you a question about that, and I can save it for later if you would prefer that.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, for somebody who's looking to shed a few pounds, could I have the same amount that I'm having for breakfast? Can I have that for lunch instead of eating a meal?
Yeah, I mean, you can, I mean, that's essentially what a juice fast is. But you'll have to, I mean, generally you want to be drinking like 5 to 8 of them a day if you're going to like. So what I usually like to do is a juice fast day, like once a week. Because it kind of helps reset your body, and it's fasting, but you are still getting all your nutrients and sort of eating, you know, you're still, it's not like a water fast, you know, where you're not eating anything. But you can do all kinds of variations of that. You can do like a liquid fast where you're doing just juice and smoothie, you know. So if you don't want to just do juice, smoothies are going to, because they're blended, they're going to be a little more filling. It's like whole fruit as opposed to the juice. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing it. You can do just, because if you do just liquid, which is juice, it's a lot easier on your digestion, because that's the other part of it that's giving you energy, is you're not digesting, because it's going straight into your bloodstream, you know, all the nutrients. You're not, your body, your stomach isn't having to break all the food down, you know. So it's a real nice, so because of that, you're giving your digestive system a break, which is able to use that energy to do other things. So when you're eating food and your body's constantly digesting, that's using up a lot of energy, which can then make you tired.
That's why people always feel like they need to take a nap after lunch.
Yes. So that's the other part of it. So yeah, you could drink as much juice as you want. Absolutely.
Because I was thinking to give it a try maybe for a week, like have the juice for breakfast and have the juice for lunch, and then have like a nice healthy dinner.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I mean, that's honestly usually what I do, is I eat about one meal a day. So I do juice and smoothies and then like a meal. And it may seem like not that much, but when you're doing the juice and the smoothies really packed with nutrients, you don't, and you kind of realize how much food is sort of an addiction, like eating is kind of an addiction. It's a habit, you know, that you're just doing because you're used to doing it. So.
Yeah. And I was going to actually ask you, because I know we talked about this a little bit last week also. Can you email us or post some recipes for smoothies?
Yeah,
Okay.
got some smoothie recipes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And how about you, Kitty? Did you do any juice? Hey, Ingrid.
Hi.
Thanks for joining.
Sorry I'm late. I'm in Santa Ynez.
Oh, no problem. So did you do any juicing or live food or any, implement any enzymes? Kitty?
Me?
Yeah.
I definitely did. I really appreciated our talk last week.
Good.
Because I really hadn't been thinking about live food or enzymes. I had been thinking about, is this healthy or not? You know, and it's such a huge difference. And I really took your advice about, you know, don't go extreme, just 50% of your meals is all, you know, will offset a lot, will be a huge benefit.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of went for that and just, you know, made sure like that I was, you know, having a big fresh salad with my dinners and cutting a little bit down on the dinner, you know,
Yeah.
and just trying to like make decisions. Like I was saying, how I have these, always have nice, fresh, organic baby greens in the house. They're packed with nutrition, but then I kill it all or kill all the enzymes anyway. So I stopped doing that and started eating those more raw. And I had a couple of good smoothies.
Oh, good.
We have, I could stop pedaling. That would, while I'm talking. Sorry, guys. I've got this surge of energy. But we get these acai packs from Costco. My
Yeah.
daughter and I were getting them. They're really good. So those were in, there was one in the freezer and I had that with some other frozen fruit, and a little oat milk and some kefir. And I
Mhm.
checked my kefir and it said it was low heat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was like,
Perfect.
great. So,
Yeah.
and just try to incorporate with every meal, something, an avocado, like you said, or something, and just make other food choices. So I'm definitely headed in the right direction.
And
But,
did you feel any difference or notice anything?
yeah. Because, you know, I think I definitely know what I'm doing, but don't do it. And there's clearly a lot of information I don't have yet, you know, or need to refocus on. Like, I know I could eat cleaner. I think I do pretty well for the most part, but you know, I don't know, like white flour keeps creeping into my life a little bit. That's a really hard one for me to give up because like a freshly baked bread.
Well, it's
something like that.
addictive. I mean, it is actually addictive, that wheat, that gliadin
Yeah.
molecule. It's actually addictive to the brain, you know, like sugar too, you know. So it's not
Yeah.
just you, it's the molecule working on your brain. So it's difficult.
It's the puff of the bread,
Yeah.
the rise,
Yes.
it's the texture. It's
Yes.
like, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, and I love whole grains too. And I try and make really good choices. And so it's been good, but I'm glad to have your expertise and learn more from you. And I'm actually really interested in today's talk because I just have always been like, no medications, no supplements. Like I put supplements in the same category as medications. I don't even ever take aspirin, right? I don't know. And I always felt that way about supplements. And I've kind of always leaned towards those sources that say, if you have a well-balanced, healthy diet, you don't need to take supplements. And even during my pregnancies, you know, I had, you know, a doctor who was like, well, you know, you don't really need to take a lot of vitamins and things if you have a good, healthy diet and you're healthy. That always made sense to me. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say today, because part of me also realizes, you know, well, yes and no. Like there's part of my brain that's like, yeah, but there could be some benefit to this, and especially you and your aging body, you know, with bones and everything. might want to get more
Yeah.
information. So that's where I'm at with the supplements.
Yeah, perfect segue too. So, so yeah, I think that idea of not really needing supplements if you eat a healthy diet was true maybe even 30 years ago, even maybe even I could say 20 years ago, definitely 30 years ago. But the problem is our world is not the same as it was 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago. And part of that is our soil, which then grows the food that we eat, our air and the toxins in the air that we breathe, our water. And those are all basic things that are polluted, and pollutants pull minerals from your body, and your minerals are, you know, what build our body, and all the enzymes in our body need those minerals. And as we know with the enzymes, how important those are. And they also build your DNA, which is also important for, you know, all your genetics and everything. So the problem is, even if you eat pretty well, like I eat pretty well, but I mean, I still don't eat everything organic. And I still, even though I have a water filter that I drink from, my shower isn't filtered. You know, I go into the ocean, it's pretty clean, but it's not, you know, so all of those toxicants and exposures are depleting you. And so I don't think you have to supplement everything. I think there are some basic supplements that are better than others. And so what I was going to do is see if I can, where do I share I try to create a, there it is. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Oh,
very successful.
okay. Can you see the supplements?
Yes.
Nancy Mitchell? Okay.
Mhm.
I tried to like do a little PowerPoint presentation because I can talk about it, but I also have some like dosages and things like that it might be easier to see visually. So I start with the heart just because I mostly deal with the heart, but this is also overall what I recommend. And the top one is magnesium. I mean, people that know me know that I rave about magnesium, which is a major mineral in our body. And the problem is magnesium is just leached by everything. And magnesium is responsible of over 300 enzymatic reactions in our body, which we need. Magnesium is the relaxation mineral. So most of us have trouble sleeping, relaxing, where if you think a lot, if you're stressed a lot, you're burning through magnesium. And the nice thing with magnesium is you can't overdose on it. So with some other things to supplement with, you might, you know, it'd be easy to get toxic amounts, but magnesium, you just poop out any extra. So it's very safe. And if I believe that like 90+% of people are deficient in magnesium. And so I take magnesium twice a day. So it's something that I have found really beneficial for me and most of my patients. So anyone that's got high blood pressure, so here's the other thing with magnesium. You were talking about bones earlier, and like people our age, as you get older, you worry about osteoporosis. And many women are taking calcium. And the problem is calcium is like one of the worst things you can take because your body can't get rid of any extra. Unlike magnesium, which goes through your body very quickly. So calcium is the constrictor. That's why it makes your bones hard. Calcium is what's in your pipes that you have to like chop through to get the water to move through because everything's calcified. So calcification is what happens to your body when you age. And when you take calcium, that doesn't mean the calcium is getting to your bones and your teeth, which is where you want it. the calcium, what happens, sticks around in your blood and creates calcified arteries, calcified vessels. That's what then leads to heart attacks and strokes, is because you have these calcified plaques in your arteries and vessels. You can get calcifications in your breast tissue, which many women know when they get mammograms, they have all these calcifications. You can get calcified joints, say your knees or elbows, get calcified and stiff. You can calcified brain tissue. So calcium is a real big problem in our bodies that causes aging. And so again, you want the calcium in your bones, but the way you get the calcium out of your bloodstream and your tissue is through magnesium. So the problem is most of us are deficient in magnesium, which is not utilizing the calcium and bringing it to the bones and the teeth, which is where we want it. So you need magnesium and you also need silicon. Those are the two other minerals that you need to mobilize the calcium. So many times, like I have these older women patients who have high blood pressure, they're osteoporotic, they're on calcium, they're on blood pressure medications, and really all that they need is magnesium. Because the magnesium is going to open, it's a vasodilator, so it's going to open up the blood vessels so the blood can flow through and the blood pressure can come down. And it's going to mobilize all that calcium that they've been taking that's sitting around in their body and not being used and bring it into the bones. So magnesium is like, I mean, I say here for the heart, but really I recommend for everyone. It's really the number one thing that I think everyone can benefit from. It also helps with sleep. So because it's the relaxation mineral, it helps calm everything. It helps you just relax. It's the relaxation. It opens everything up, calms everything down. So magnesium for me is like the number one thing. And I'll go into a little more about how much to take and all of that and the different, because there's different kinds too. And so also for the heart, vitamin D3, K2. And again, vitamin D is one that not only for the heart, but for everyone. We are a society that is chronically deficient in vitamin D, and that's also mostly because nobody goes out in the sun anymore. We've become afraid of sunlight, which is unfortunate because we are beings of light. We actually photosynthesize, and we need sunlight to create energy in our bodies. And not only that, but create vitamin D, which is actually also a hormone. And so vitamin D deficiency is real, and you can supplement with it. But also sunlight is the best because it's going to have full spectrum. But even for me out here, like I haven't been in the sun really that much because it's been raining. And so I'll do some maintenance. And then CoQ10. CoQ10 is another one that's really important for the heart and also for energy in general. So magnesium, I talked about this a little bit. So stress depletes your magnesium. Drugs, so a lot of pharmaceutical drugs just leach your magnesium like crazy. Cooking, because it's enzymatic. Soil depletion, fluoride, which is in our water, and a lot of products too, and chlorine. So yeah, fluoride binds to magnesium in the muscles, tendons, and bones. So that's why you can get a lot of cramping in your muscles from magnesium deficiency. So different kinds. So citrate is the one that I usually recommend to most people, just because most people are constipated. And magnesium citrate will, it just helps the bowels move more. And so for people that are generally err on the side of constipation, I recommend the citrate form. For people that have no problem going to the bathroom and are not constipated, and if anything might be a little more toward the looser side, I recommend glycinate, because glycinate doesn't have any bowel reaction. So glycinate's a good basic if you don't need to go to the bathroom more. Magnesium malate is great for energy and metabolism. Magnesium L-threonate is great for, it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it's really good for people with brain injuries, people that have had concussions or any kind of traumatic brain injury. Also people with anxiety or any kind of memory problems, because the magnesium, the L-threonate passes the blood-brain barrier, is going to be real beneficial for that. So again, like the type of magnesium, if you just want a real basic one, citrate or glycinate, depending on your bowels. And then if you want to get more specific, like you've got people, you know someone or you yourself are actually specifically suffering with some of these other issues, then you can go the malate or threonate. You can get ionic magnesium, which is a liquid, and you can use that if you have a super sensitive stomach or absorption issues. So people with like Crohn's disease, horrible IBS or ulcerative colitis, they're going to have really hard time absorbing in general. I actually use some ionic magnesium. It's liquid, so it's literally like a half a capful. It kind of tastes minerally, like mineral water, but I use it a lot in the summer when it's hot here and I'm sweating a lot because you're losing those minerals so much. So I like to kind of do a mix. So I take magnesium citrate, and then I might use a little ionic magnesium, like in the summertime in my water, because it's nice to get a variation of forms too of magnesium. So dosing. So they generally come in 200 milligrams. Now I put on here, look on the bottle to see how many pills per milligram, because a lot of times you'll see the bottle and it'll say 200 milligrams magnesium citrate. And then if you look at the back with the serving size, it'll say like 3 tablets equal 200 milligrams. Well, a lot of people, I would get patients and they're like, yeah, I haven't really seen much difference in my blood pressure. I'm like, how much are you taking? And they're like, I'm taking 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And then I look at the bottle and it's like they're taking a third of the lowest dose. So make sure you look and see how many pills equals the milligrams that they're advertising, because the other thing is, so like I take the 200 milligram tablet and it's a whole 200 milligrams and it's a fat tablet. So a lot of these that make the capsules, they're going to be smaller, easier to take because they're smaller, but you got to take more of them. So just keep that in mind. You can get like Calm, CALM, is a powder that's magnesium citrate that you can put, they advertise it as like to help you sleep, but it's just magnesium citrate. And it's a powder and you can make it into a drink. So that's easier if you don't want to do pills, or do the ionic, which is the liquid. So there's, different ways of doing it, or you can kind of mix all of them. So generally it's, 3 to 4 milligrams per pound of body weight per day. So generally what I say is just take the 200 milligrams, which is like the base dose, twice a day. Give it a day or two, see how you feel. If you're taking the citrate, see if your bowel movements increase at all. If not much happens, double it. And what I tell people is you just start to feel more normal. And it's like a weird thing to say, but you just start feeling like all is better in the world. Like you just feel more, you sleep well, your bowels are moving well, you're not very anxious, you're not overthinking, you're just sort of like feel normal. And again, you can't take too much. I mean, I guess you could, but you would just poop everything out. But again, because we are mostly chronically magnesium deficient, it's pretty, low risk for taking too much. Most of my patients, I'm telling them, okay, double it, keep going up. I mean, I have patients taking like 800 twice a day. And the reason it's twice a day is because you burn through it. So whatever you take in the morning, you're going to be through it by the end of the day. So I know it's hard to take things twice a day, but just know if you're if you're only taking it once a day, you're only getting the benefit either in the morning or at night, whenever that dose is, because you'll have burned through it The other thing is you can switch it up. So like I'll take 200 in the morning and 400 before I go to bed. And I just find that the higher dose at night helps my sleep, and then also helps me have a bowel movement in the morning when I wake up. So you can play around with it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same morning and night. And then I kind of talked about this other forms of magnesium. There's the ionic, but also Epsom salt. So Epsom salt is just magnesium sulfate. So magnesium sulfate isn't really something to eat, but you can absorb it transdermally through your skin. That's why going swimming in the ocean is also very calming, because there's a lot of magnesium in ocean water, and that's absorbing through your skin. So you can absorb transdermally. There's some sprays and stuff you can put on your skin. And then some foods that are high in magnesium you can also include too. But again, remember with the foods that you're not going to be getting the dosages that you would from a supplement. But again, it's always, even though you're not getting the dosages from the supplement, remember there's going to be different forms of the magnesium. So I'm all for getting as many variety, because your body uses everything, right? Okay, vitamin D3, K2. So D2 is in food, D3 is in sunlight, and then both need to be converted into an activated vitamin D. So again, a variety of food and sun and supplement. So the supplement is going to give you one form, but again, sunlight is also very good. You want to be in the sun without sunscreen for a certain part of the day to get those that different spectrum of vitamin D. And then you want, if you take it in a supplement form, you want to take it with K2. So what K2 does is it takes all that calcium that I was talking about before, and it helps bring it into the bones. So K2 really helps with pulling out that stiff calcium. So, and this just talks about the vitamin D levels. So what we have in the labs now is not very much. You actually want to be above 60 to really stay healthy. And I don't know if you've heard, but like those studies with COVID patients, really no one with a level above 60, they haven't found any deaths from COVID. So it's very protective. So you really want to have a high level of vitamin D. So as far as dosages with the D3K2, start around 2,000 international units per 40 micrograms per 25 pounds of body weight, and then increase from there every month. And then you've got your maintenance dose. And then, like I said, you want to get it from the sun. So light skin like me, I only need about 15 to 20 minutes. But the problem is, like people with darker skin, like in Saudi Arabia, there's a real problem with vitamin D deficiency. And that's because, one, they have darker skin, so they're going to need a lot more sunlight to penetrate through that melanin. And everyone's inside, you know, or has sunscreen on. So really important to get that amount of sun every day with no sunscreen on your skin. And you can do it early morning, late evening, afternoon. It doesn't have to be broad daylight if you burn easily. K2. So I was talking about the calcium. It inhibits the calcium in the arteries, which then stiffens them. Good for bone health because it's going to help bring that calcium into the bones. Keeps the calcium from accumulating in the walls of the blood vessels. Helps regulate the smooth muscle, which is like the muscles inside the vessels. So you want that smooth muscle. If it's calcified, it's stiff. So your blood pressure goes up, but your vessels are stiff. And so they can't open and relax very well when they're calcified. So it helps that smooth muscle. It can decrease your blood pressure and help the workload and the tone, the muscle tone of your vessels. So then CoQ10, it's an antioxidant. And what this does is it's basically the energy of the heart. So They found taking it within 3 days of a heart attack can actually prevent future heart attacks and chest pain. It protects the heart cells and the tissue against free radical damage. It goes down as we age, so it's important to replete it. Make sure we get it in our diets. And low levels increase oxidative stress and insulin resistance. So when their levels are low, your blood vessels constrict. The endothelial damage, which is the lining of the heart, the skin layer of the vessels and the heart, get damaged when it's low, which leads to high blood pressure. And then it can also lower blood pressure because it's fixing all these things. And these are some of the foods that it's found in. It's a fat soluble vitamin, so you want to take it with a fatty meal for best absorption. And there's two forms. There's a ubiquinone, which is good for energy, and ubiquinol, which is for antioxidant. So you can take both or choose one, depending on what you want it for. And again, a lot of these drugs, so I have patients that are on a lot of these, and anyone on a statin, which is for cholesterol, has to take CoQ10, because that's a lot of what's caused symptoms when people take statins and they're getting stiff or myalgias, muscle pain, is they don't have CoQ10. And a lot of the fatigue, so people will take beta blockers, they're tired, they can't, they don't have any energy. It's the CoQ10, because the CoQ10 is the energy for the heart. It's energy production. So you want to be careful. If you're taking any of these medications, you must take CoQ10. All right, and then I thought I'd talk about gut health, because a lot of people have gut issues. And so these are just sort of my top, what I recommend for any kind of gut issues. So if you have Candida, any kind of yeast, or if you have H. pylori, which is like a gastric ulcer, oregano oil, berberine, and olive leaf. Those three taken for 6 weeks will knock it out. Gone. So berberine also, on special note, is really great for cholesterol. So if you have elevated cholesterol, berberine will lower your levels of cholesterol naturally. So olive leaf also is really good for, it's antiviral. So it's a really good immune health. Lily of the desert is an aloe vera liquid. It comes in a container that you drink like a little capful. It's got some other herbs like chamomile, ginger, mint, slippery elm, which is really good. And what it does is it coats the lining of your intestinal tract. So the skin on the inside of your intestines is the same as the skin on the outside of your body. And so aloe vera will heal third-degree burns. So when you drink aloe vera, it will heal the entire esophagus and intestinal tract of ulcers, all kinds of stuff, within a week. So the epithelial cells inside your gastrointestinal tract turn over every 3 to 7 days. So very quickly. So if you've got any kind of bleed, ulceration, using the aloe vera will, within a week. So I usually recommend patients take it 3 times a day, at least 2, morning and night, and then whenever they're having issues. So if it's like with meals or at night or when they wake up in the morning, definitely those times, and then some extra for 1 week straight. And then at that point, it's usually healed, and then to use it as needed and just sort of maintenance. Peptiguard is by Thorne. That's also really nice. It's pill form, but it's got some aloe, it's got berberine and some other things in it in a pill form. So that's just another nice thing to combo supplement. AP Traveler is a Ayurvedic herb that's great for traveling. So like if you're going to other places and you might be exposed to weird bugs or stomach things. So, you know, when you travel and you eat something weird and upsets your stomach. So AP Traveler is a great, it's got like some neem in it and some other Ayurvedic herbs that are really nice to kind of modulate and keep your gut in place when you're traveling. And then liver sauce. This is I take this every evening. It's by Quicksilver Scientific, and it's bitters. It's basically bitter herbs. So bitters are really good for the liver. So burdock root, gentian, those bitter herbs are so good for the liver, and your liver regenerates at night while you're sleeping. So liver sauce is a nice combo of these bitters that are just going to keep the liver working well. And then immune health. Had cat's claw, which is a vine that grows in the Amazon, really good immune modulator. So I take it just if I feel like I'm getting sick, or if I know I've been around people that are sick and I don't want to get sick, I just take it to kind of help boost my immune system. Vitamin C, I mean, it's basic, simple, but if you're sick, vitamin C every hour will knock it out, 1,000 milligrams. Sambucus, that's another one. Man, you take that when you're sick, it'll knock it out. And then I put the olive leaf on here again, because that's antiviral. NAC, that's a big one now, especially with COVID. It's a really good respiratory, and N-acetylcysteine, really good for respiratory issues. And then there's this wellness formula that I like from Source Naturals, and it's just got everything. I mean, it's got like a dozen or more herbs in it. That same thing. You got to take like 4 or 6 of them, but man, it'll knock out whatever you've got. So, and then this is from Rebecca, couldn't be here, but she wanted to know what was good for anxiety. So again, magnesium. Magnesium is really calming. It's the calming mineral. Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen. And so what it's going to do is it's going to give you energy if you're tired, and it'll make you tired if you're wired. So what it does is it helps your body modulate stress. Because a lot of times what anxiety is from is your body can't adapt. You're not resilient. You're not adapting to life stresses and what's happening. And so ashwagandha is an adaptogen. So it's going to help your body flow through the stresses. So help sleep if you're too wired and you can't get your mind off, and it'll help get you not wired, but it'll help wake you up if you're just down. So I love ashwagandha, is very safe too. And then SAMe is another one, really good for depression. Niacinamide, which is a niacin. So niacin, straight niacin will make you flush, which is why a lot of people don't like it. The regular niacin is good for cholesterol. It will lower cholesterol. But the niacinamide is the non-flushing form of niacin. It doesn't work so well on cholesterol, but really good for anxiety. And people with any kind of mental, whether it's depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, most people with those type of mental issues are niacin deficient. And so, you know, we have the recommended daily allowance of vitamins and minerals, but that's just to prevent disease. And so what we found is some people need way more than others. And so there's people that have taken an entire, like full psychotic break, sitting in a corner, nonverbal, not recognizing anyone, take an entire full bottle of niacin and turn around and have dinner and full normal conversations with their family because they were that deficient with niacin. So niacin is a really, really nice vitamin, B vitamin, that many people, again, like with magnesium, we burn through B vitamins. So, and very safe. So niacinamide is a great one for anxiety. And then I just listed some other supplements. So again, like we talked about, you can get crazy with supplements. Like again, if I just recommended a couple, I would recommend magnesium because I think everyone needs magnesium. D3 if you're not getting enough sunlight. And then CoQ10 is just a great for energy, but especially if you have any kind of heart problem, you'll want to. But then we get into other stuff. So then it just becomes like, what else? What is your issue? You know, if you have any, if everything else is fine, then I think you're fine. But again, if you have the gut issues or if you're getting sick all the time, but then I get into zinc. Zinc is another mineral that is so necessary for so many other processes in our body and that we burn through and we tend to be deficient in. I recommend zinc, especially these days, you know, with all the stuff going on. Vitamin C, I already mentioned. Ashwagandha, I mentioned. Turmeric. Turmeric is, wow, it does everything. I mean, turmeric is like a wonder drug. I mean, I think they're probably trying to figure out how to patent it because it's a really an amazing herb. But I take turmeric every day. It's one I recommend. I would add turmeric to my my daily routine. And then glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant, which we also get depleted from because of pesticides. I mean, that's a lot of this is because of pesticides use. And glutathione is how we get our energy. So it's what fuels our mitochondria, which is our energy source. And so when you're running low on glutathione, you're just dragging. And glutathione is something you don't necessarily have to take every day, but you could have it in your arsenal and kind of just make sure you're adding it to your week here and there to keep your mitochondria boosted and your energy. And then medicinal mushrooms, they're great. They're great for not only immune health, but also brain health. They're going to help cognition. They're also going to help calm you, any kind of nerve problems. They're going to be, so you got the lion's mane, reishi, really good for sleep. You can take it at night before you go to bed. It's real beneficial for sleep. Cordyceps and chaga. Chaga mushroom is one of those that's like the master mushroom that does everything. It fixes everything. It's one of the tonic herbs. It's something I take every day. And then I put Host Defense. That's just a brand that by Paul Stamets. He has a really good brand for mushrooms. Then I put on here Shilajit, fulvic and humic acids, and zeolites. And what these are like binders. So they come mostly from like volcanic ash. And what they do is they soak up pesticides, herbicides, toxins, general toxins in our body, even things like aluminum, not just pesticides and herbicides, but other toxic minerals that are in our body that could be wreaking havoc, could be causing free radical damage, oxidation, things like that. So these gentle binders help, they just suck all that stuff up and release it out of your body. And again, not necessary, but again, because of the world we live in, it's not a bad thing to add in, even if you're not taking it every day. But because of the world we live in and all the toxins around us, and those toxins will cause problems. They cause problems on your minerals, your DNA, your genetic sequencing, and can cause chronic disease. So it's not a bad thing to add those in. And then BioSil, which is silicon, which is another trace mineral, which I was talking about, is needed with magnesium to bind the calcium and bring it to the bones and the teeth where you want it. So BioSil is a liquid, and I put 3 drops in my green juice in the morning. And it's a trace mineral. and I use it. So what BioSil, the silicone, does is it binds to aluminum. So aluminum is one of those ubiquitous minerals that is everywhere, and too much of it causes a problem. And so BioSil, they advertise it for like hair, skin, and nails, the silicone, but it acts as a binder. And so I like it for the gentle binder of aluminum, because too much aluminum will displace bromide, and too little bromide causes Parkinson's. So it's important to keep these trace minerals in balance. And then the niacin and niacinamide I talked about. C60 is another one. It's an electron. This is getting a little more, not esoteric, but this is just, if you want, C60 is carbon 60, and it just helps your magnetism, I guess, to explain it. It just helps energetically, because we're all the electrons in our body, some of them that can get dampened. And so the C60 just helps electrically your body. And then activated charcoal, again, that's sort of on the shilajit, fulvic, and humic acid. It's a binder. And chlorella. Chlorella is a sea vegetable, high in iodine, also chlorophyll, and very nice, gentle detoxifier. So those are just like nice to have supplements. And I think that's it. How do I get out of here? There we go. Oh, well, that was a lot. What did you, you got questions?
That was really interesting.
Thank you, Nancy, for all of that.
Is I totally overwhelmed? Do you have questions?
A little bit overwhelmed, because it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, especially for someone that
Yeah.
has a similar philosophy to Kitty of well, I'm not taking anything whatsoever, and I don't like to take any, I don't even like to take aspirin. Like she said, I don't take any prescription medications whatsoever. And I kind of add the vitamins and stuff into that same category, but that's why I asked that question last week about what would be a really good starting point.
Yeah.
So if we were just to kind of start out with what you explained today, so there's like 4 basic things: the magnesium, vitamin B3,
So
the K2, and so there's like 4 things that we could start out with.
well, for you, so I would do the magnesium. Magnesium's just good for everyone. And then I would look a little further into, if you don't have any problems with your gut, if you don't have any problems with your immune system, all of that, then I would probably lean into more of the binders, because you are going to be exposed to chemicals. I mean, we all are.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like the shampoo you're whatever, like it's just everywhere. You wash your hands somewhere, there's going to be fluoride and chlorine in the water, because even if you've got stuff on your house tap, you're going out to eat somewhere, you're going to drink the tap water, wash your hands in a municipal whatever, we're just exposed everywhere. And now, they've got that big chemical spill. Even if you don't live in Ohio, it's like all that stuff is now in our atmosphere, these horrible chemicals. And so if you don't have any heart problems, you're not taking medications, you're sleeping well, all of that, like still, I like the magnesium. And then I would do some kind of binder just to protect yourself from any kind of, because the thing is those issues are like the below the below the surface. Like you may not be having symptoms, but the problem is once you have symptoms, your body's already out of whack. So it's like, I like to think of it as like your cell phone. When your cell phone's like not working right, and you're like, why is this app slow? And why isn't things working? And then you look and you turn off all the apps that are running in the background. You're like, oh, I've got like 20 apps running in the background of my phone. That's why it's not running very well. Same with our body. So it's like when you've got a bunch of apps running in your body and your body's fighting this and it's got all these things, it's trying to like keep everything in balance, you know? And then you add one more thing and it's like, I can't. And that's when you get a symptom. That's what a symptom is your body's like, oh, well, I couldn't, you know, I was juggling all these things and I couldn't with that one. So you get a symptom. The thing is again, once you get the symptom, you've already gone over the threshold. So the Shilajit and the humic and fulvic acids and the zeolites, those like binders are just going to help give your body that thing to keep everything balanced, you know. Again, nice to have, but I mean, I take them every day because there's a lot of junk everywhere in the air and the soil and the water.
But the things that you mentioned at the beginning, like the magnesium and the D3 and the
Q10.
can we get that? This might be a silly question, but can we get what we need from a multivitamin instead of having to take all these different?
So the thing is with the multivitamins, there's some that are good. You're not going to get like the magnesium in high doses. They're good for some trace stuff. So there's some that are nice that have some zinc and, you know, some of those other things. I think there's a Nate brand, INNATE. I think there's one for like women over 50 or something like that. And it has a nice variety. But again, you're not going to get your vitamin C's and your magnesium in sufficient doses. It's better because to put everything in one vitamin, you can't really fit everything in there. And so that's why I recommend the magnesium separate, because just a regular magnesium pill is huge. So you'll get like 100 milligrams or 50 milligrams of magnesium. And the other problem is most magnesium in a multivitamin is magnesium oxide. And magnesium oxide is very poorly absorbed. So you're only going to get about like 2 to 4% of magnesium oxide. And so it's kind of a waste. So the magnesium citrate and the glycinate and the others are much more absorbable for your body. It's a magnesium that your body can absorb. So again, you have to get a really good quality multivitamin that's going to have a good quality magnesium, because most are going to have. The problem with multivitamins are most are low quality. So what they're doing is they're getting all these vitamins they're sold off by these other companies that don't want, and they're packaging it into a multivitamin. So they're usually poor quality. You're not getting enough dose of whatever it is you need, and you're not absorbing because it's low quality. So things like folic acid. Folic acid is man-made. It's made in a lab. What your body uses is folate. So the problem is when folic acid is almost like folate, but not quite. And so your folate receptor sees folic acid and it thinks, oh, this is folate, and it attaches, but it's not quite the same. It's close, but the problem is when all your receptors are full of folic acid, when you eat something that has folate in it, all the receptors are full. So you can end up over time becoming deficient because you're not able to absorb folate because all your receptors are full of folic acid, which again is okay. But over time, it's like you can then lean into some issues because then you might become folate deficient. So so yes, in a perfect world, multivitamins seem to work well because you would have a little smattering of everything, right? But the problem is most multivitamins are not that great. But you can buy some good brands. Like I was saying, that Innate brand has a good smattering of stuff. but you're still going to have to take a magnesium separate because you're not going to be able to fit that much magnesium unless you're taking several pills, because you can't fit that much in. The other part I was going to mention is like gummies. Gummies are really big, but the gummies, you can't put minerals in a gummy. So no gummy is going to have like a mineral. And on top of it, the vitamins in a gummy are going to be very low because you can only put so much in. And two, they're going to degrade. So the quality is not going to be very good. So I just,
Stay
it's
away from
hard. Yeah. So
That's okay. No, it's good to know because I didn't even know that about multivitamins.
yeah,
So
and I
that's good to
definitely would
know.
not do Centrum. Centrum is like the
Yeah.
worst company. So yeah, I would do, I think I had it pulled up here. Let me see. Yeah, Innate has a good one. See if I can find it. Where is it? Any other questions?
No, I'm just taking it all in.
I don't want to hog the conversation because I always
you're
have a
asking-
zillion questions.
No, you're actually asking the kind of the questions that I have too, so it's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So this women's 55. So this is like a multi by Innate. So you can see it's got some vitamin A, C, it's got D3. It's got some vitamin E, thiamine, riboflavin. It's got a little bit of niacin. Again, 20 milligrams, it's not much. So most of the niacin that I was talking about is like in the 9,000 range. So much higher. So if you have anxiety or something like that, like this multivitamin is not going to do anything. This is just a trace amount to give you a little bit of something. So you can see it's nice. It's got folate. So that's good. It's not folic acid, which is good. B12, you want a methylcobalamin, not a cyanocobalamin. So that is good. It's a good form of B12. It's got the biotin, it's got a little bit of iodine, which is nice. It's got a little bit of zinc. It's got some selenium, copper, which is nice for iron absorption, really important. Manganese, which is another mineral that you want, chromium, molybdenum, which is good, and a little green tea extract. So like this is a nice, but you can see there's no magnesium because again, you'd want to take that separate anyway. So like this is a nice, this would be a nice multivitamin that I would recommend. Another one that I really like is Quicksilver Scientific. So they have the glutathione, which is nice. These are all liposomal, so they go under the tongue and absorb very well. So they got the vitamin C. They have a nice D3K2, which is under the tongue, which I like. This is another thing that I didn't mention, the Canton. These are water. So this is seawater, which has minerals in it, which I like. Let me see. They're the ones that have, why is it not? Anyway, they have the liver sauce that, oh, here it is. So the liver sauce has, yeah, it's got the dandelion root, gentian, milk thistle, quercetin. So this is really nice for the liver. So, you know, your liver is your filter. So, but yeah. So that's what I would do. If you were to take a multi, I would recommend that one. But then take a magnesium on top of it.
And if not, then just stick with the things that you had mentioned at the
Yeah,
beginning. But the things that you had mentioned at the beginning, so there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4, I'll say
the
pills, 4 things
magnesium,
to take.
D3 and CoQ10.
Oh, so the D3 and the K2, it's 1 pill, it's not 2?
Yep, they're together.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. So would
Yeah.
we take those 3 things at the same time twice a day?
The
Or-
magnesium you would, but the D3 and the CoQ10, you can just take once.
Oh,
And
okay.
even the CoQ10, if you're not on any medications, you can take the CoQ10, like I take CoQ10 maybe a couple times a week. I don't take it every day. But just something to kind of like keep your levels up, you know? But you don't necessarily have to take it every day. If you're on medications, then I would take it every single day. But CoQ10 is one of those where, again, as you age, your stores get lower. So it's gonna affect your energy levels, and it directly affects the heart, because it's the energy of the heart. So it's a nice preventative for any kind of heart problems, and then it's also going to help your energy stores in general. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I take the one from Costco, the ubiquinol CoQ10. It's like pineapple
Yeah.
flavor, and it's got a nice little creamy.
Quinol.
Yes, quinol. There you go. Is that a good one?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
okay? And what I was gonna say to everyone also, when I drink my suja in the morning, I put like a scoop of the mushrooms. There's like a master blend of the mushrooms, and I put a scoop of that in the suja. And it, because suja is so powerful, like you can't really, if you don't like the mushroom flavor, it disguises it. And then I add a few drops of the biocell
Yeah.
in there as well, because I don't like the flavor. But that stuff, if you don't like it, and if anyone doesn't like the flavor of anything, it just takes that out, because all the suja is so powerful that, and which I love. It's, to me, it's so tasty that I just, if you guys get confused, just like that's another thing that's like really helpful.
Yeah. I put my biocell in the green juice because
Yeah. because warning, it does not have the best aftertaste.
no, you don't want to put it in water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want it in juice. Yeah, I put the biocell in the juice, but yeah, that's interesting with the mushroom blend in there.
Mhm.
I usually put the mushroom blend in my smoothie.
And what are your thoughts on the MCT oil then? Is that something that you don't really need?
Yes, I mean, we need those fats, but I eat so much coconut that I don't really like. I rather have it from coconut, you know. So again, it's like there's some things that are great, but if you can have it in, try and get it in its original form as much as possible.
I
You're gonna,
agree
yeah,
wholeheartedly.
yeah. And the reason I talk about these supplements, because you think, well, why would you need to take these supplements? It's that a lot of the foods that we're eating aren't having enough of these. And most of what I'm talking about are minerals and antioxidants, you know, magnesium.
Yeah.
So, and then things like niacin, we just know that certain people burn through it more than others. And that's what's causing their mental problems or anxiety or depression or whatever it is. So it's like a really easy way to fix those things without using medication. You know, they're not Prozac deficient, they're niacin deficient or magnesium deficient or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like MCT, that's just a medium chain fatty acid, you know, that is found in coconut. But when you eat the coconut, you're not only getting the MCT, but you're getting, you know, the monolaurin and all the other nice things that are in the coconut. So I just feel like, I mean, unless you hate coconut, but I use coconut milk for all my smoothies. So it's like,
Okay.
I get so much coconut in my diet that I don't use MCT oil. I don't think it's bad. I just think that there's other ways to get the MCT rather than just using the oil.
Ladies,
Yeah.
I have to jump off, but please continue, and thank you so much. And I'm gonna
Thanks for joining,
actually
Katie.
review this when it's ready. I'm gonna review it. Yeah, thank you. And I'm also gonna start on the magnesium citrate,
Oh, cool.
vitamin C, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, report
right.
back.
All right, I'll see you next week, ladies. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so those are just my thoughts on that.
Okay, because yeah, I like Tati. Simone doesn't like the coconut, so I was like trying to put a little in there, like chocolate milk.
So they don't like coconut, the taste of coconut.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm hoping, I don't know. It's weird. Also, coconuts here are $5 a piece now.
Well, you can get coconut manna. The coconut
true.
butter. Because
Yeah.
that's going to be much more concentrated, but it does taste like
Oh,
coconut. But you can put a scoop of it in the smoothie.
true.
Coconut
Okay.
manna is great. Yeah. What else, Emily?
Oh my gosh, Nancy, I'm like a 2-year-old because I don't take anything, and it's like I need to be educated on, even, do I take this with food? When do I take this? Like the magnesium, do I need to take that with on an empty stomach or with
Yeah,
a
it doesn't
meal
matter.
or?
It doesn't matter. I take it on an empty stomach. I've never had a problem.
So
Yeah.
if I'm gonna buy the magnesium and then the vitamin D3, K2, I can take those together?
Yep.
Fine. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, no problem.
And I know last week you mentioned Full Script was a good company to get them from.
Yeah.
Better than me going like to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's to buy them?
No, you could. You can go to Whole Foods or Trader. I don't know about Trader Joe's,
Enough.
but yeah, Whole Foods for sure.
But I wouldn't even know what brand. I mean, they have so many different ones. I would be
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah. So the nice thing with Full Script is all of their brands are vetted. So they are like good brands. Most of those they have at Whole Foods. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, supplements are it's a complicated and and on purpose, I
Mhm.
mean, it's also a business,
Yeah.
at the same time, not everyone is the same, so it's like not everyone's going to need the same supplements. That's why this talk was it's difficult,
Mhm.
because not everyone's going to need the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard to just give a general what everyone would need. That's why I think off the top of my head, it's going to be a magnesium, a vitamin C, the D3, CoQ10 is good.
Mhm.
Like CoQ10 doesn't need to be every day. Magnesium every day, vitamin C you're going to need, vitamin D. But again, you can go outside. So, and then again, like that's why I put on those binders like the Shilajit, because I just feel like we're in such a toxic world. That is a big cause of disease now.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, you can get crazy like me. I take handfuls of supplements every day. But
Nancy, I love those Quicksilver ones because I get up and I have all 4 of them in the fridge and I just squirt
yeah,
one, the D3K2, I do the vitamin C, I do the I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
All the ones you recommend, and I squirt, and for anyone who's like, it's just the easiest thing. And then just the suja things, it takes like 10 minutes in the morning, and then
Yeah.
boom, and then magnesium at night.
Yeah. 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 I love the Quicksilver too. And they're highly absorbable,
Yeah.
they're easy to take, and they're great quality and company. So it's like, you're getting super good quality. So
Yeah.
I really like them and promote them because I just think they're a great brand, and because it's
And
only
they're
as good as you
easy.
can absorb, it's like
Yeah.
you can take all kinds of stuff, but if it's low quality and you're not absorbing, it doesn't matter, and that's why I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, I tried supplements, but they didn't do much. Well, you may not have absorbed anything because there's some low quality ones, and then you add in gut problems, and some people aren't absorbing because of that. So yeah.
Do you notice the difference? I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Oh,
Ingrid, yes.
Ingrid.
I was
Okay.
just gonna say, I notice a huge difference. I mean, I definitely will take it, especially right before I go to spin. And the days that I don't, that I don't take that, as opposed to the days I do and I work out right after, my brain is popping. All my functions are just, I feel so good, especially being 50 now. And it's a game changer. I'm just saying it's a game changer. And it needs to be easy for me because I have 3 kids, including my partner's another child. So I don't have a lot of time. And so, you take those, especially when you don't have time, and it's a game changer. I feel so much better ever since Nancy recommended those for me.
But do you notice the magnesium helping you sleep better also? Because that's what
Yes.
I'm thinking will
Yes.
help me, or hoping will help me.
Yes. It absolutely helps me. And it doesn't give you that tired feeling when you wake up in the morning, when you're taking something else to go to sleep. I
yeah,
feel
like
refreshed.
melatonin. I know melatonin's great, but I have a hard time taking melatonin. It's because I get the like crazy dreams. Like it gives me very vivid dreams, and I'm already
Oh,
a
wow.
dreamer, and so melatonin is great, but I just personally have a hard time with it. But magnesium for me is like, it's great. It
Yeah.
just puts me right to sleep. Just calm. It's just a calming sleep,
Calm. It's wonderful. And
Yeah.
especially at our age, you wake up at certain as you get older, you don't get as good a sleep. Oh, I'm sorry. I got 2 girls coming in from soccer. I've been in the parking lot all this time. Sorry, guys. But anyways, yeah, I sleep really, it's it definitely works well.
Do you take it
So.
like an hour before you're going to go to bed?
I probably about 30 minutes because it works pretty quickly for me.
Oh,
Yeah, I take it right
Yeah.
before bed.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. So I'm gonna let everyone go because I gotta head home.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Nancy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
It was
you,
nice meeting you.
Nancy.